Hello, guys.
All right, guys, how's it going?
Welcome to the podcast, Family Darts, all the darts fans. Awesome guest today, Neil.
Yes, fantastic guest. I can't wait to get him in. Let us know who is it, DC?
Stowe Buntz.
Yes.
Very colourful. We saw the intro there. Me and Neil had our sunglasses on watching Peter Wright and Stowe Buntz play. It was amazing. Neon nightmare. Here he is, Stowe Buntz. Welcome in.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure, bud. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Enjoying the lovely cloudy weather here in London.
Yeah. So I was in Canada myself. So I'm in Wales now. So I'm glad that I'm here because it's like -30 over there at the moment. So it's a wee bit of a change for me. But you'll be used to the sunshine a bit.
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay, so we'll crack on. I know you met Neil, which is why we got you on. Not why we got you on, but which is why you've came on.
Yeah.
You created a friendship in Gibraltar.
He was trying to get away from me. He must have felt like I was stalking him in Gibraltar. Every corner still went round. I was there.
Yeah, it definitely felt like we ran into each other a lot. I know a lot of people always offered me and my son rides, and we finally took Neil up on one. But yeah, for the most part, my son and I were just taking taxis everywhere to kind of get away from people, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So you
Yeah,
said
right.
there you're in London. You're in London for the World Championships.
Yes, sir.
You're playing a local hero in Wales. You've got Nick Kenny on Thursday. How do you fancy it? Are you feeling up for it?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm gonna go do about 4 hours of practice this evening. I have a practice schedule tomorrow. And then I have one scheduled Tuesday with Scott Williams. So hoping to get some good matches in the practice area. I don't really know much about Nick Kenny. I've seen a couple of his matches. Our paths have never crossed. So I do. The one thing I do like about my draw is it's not the first game on the first night. So I'm not the opening match tonight. I was able to get here yesterday, get settled in, and then start to I guess do some training and just mentally get prepared. Something I was unable to do last year, being the first match. So that I'm very happy about that I don't play till Thursday.
Yeah, so we're looking for a long run from you. Like your Mr. Vegas tournament, the Grand Slam 2023, you went quite deep into that. So we've got your back here. We're going to be cheering for you.
I appreciate
So
that. Thank you.
even though Nick Kenny's from Wales, we're still going to cheer for Stowe, right?
Yeah.
We've got Stowe.
Yeah. Nick's up and coming. You know, he's had some good results recently, and it's going to be a good match, I think, between you and him. He's won the Champions of Champions recently, which, as you know, is a tough tournament. So I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be a blockbuster, I think. Still
Tasty.
Yeah, I'm hoping that him and I can both just either one of us both showcase our talent, and as long as we put up a good match, I'll be happy with either one of us moving on. So I definitely want to just give something to the crowd to remember. You know, if we can both go up there and put up good numbers, have a good time, and feed off each other, and the crowd have a great experience, then I'll be happy with that.
And you certainly enjoy yourself when you're on the stage. You know, very similar to Peter Wright with the flamboyant trousers and shirts. Have you got some new gear for the World Championships this week?
Some of the same colored pants, but I do have new shirts. My shirt vendor, he does a different shirt for me every event I play in. And then the events where I play multiple rounds, like Worlds or Grand Slam, he does a different shirt for each match that I have. So I actually have 4 shirts in the locker with the thoughts that I will go 4 rounds. So I have 4 shirts that nobody's ever seen. I'm really excited by the one I'm going to wear Thursday. That's going to be one of my favorite ones. It is really colorful. It's really bright, and I think it plays into the theme of the Neon Nightmare. I think it plays into the theme of Christmas, and I think the crowd will enjoy the shirt. So
awesome. Look forward to see that. So obviously, like I said, I was based in Canada. North American darts. It's not the most popular sport in the world over there, but it's getting there. It's getting a huge following now, and partly because of yourself and the success that you have. But I do have to ask, why darts? Why did you go down the darts route?
I didn't really know anything about darts. I had already been out of high school, went to college for about a year, decided I didn't want to go to school anymore, so I got a job, and I ran into one of my high school friends, and he had told me he just got back from a dart tournament in Vegas. And I was like, darts, what tournament? What are you even talking about? So he kind of gave me the rundown. Um, Said he was playing in league nights a couple nights a week, and I was very intrigued. I was like, man, darts league a couple nights a week. What? Like, I want to go check this out. So I went and watched him for many months before I finally decided to throw one. And then when I started throwing, he was like, hey, you're pretty consistent. You should probably try to do this. So I was like, all right, if you guys got a spot, I'll join your team. Of course, I wasn't good enough. So they were like, no, but there's another team you can go play on. So I went and played on that other team and got better, and things progressed. And I was told that I should try to go to a tournament after about playing for about a year and a half. So I went to a tournament and ended up losing. Funny enough, I lost in the semifinals of the pairs event to Darren Young and Paul Lim. And at that point, I was hooked because we had 3 darts to beat them to go to the finals, and I was kind of excited because I didn't know who they were, and everybody was like, "Oh man, that's at the time, I think Paul was number 1 in North America, and Darren I think was number 3 in North America." And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right. Well, if that's the case, this ought to be easy." Yeah, it wasn't so easy. So
Yeah,
many years later, finally mentally settled. Work is great for me, so I'm not stressing with work. My kid situation with my ex-wife, my current wife, and her kid situation, we're all the family thing, the work thing, everything has gotten very easier as I've gotten older. So it when you walk up to the line and you're not thinking about all the other things in your life, it makes it a lot easier to throw a good dart. It really does. And I would
absolutely.
imagine that's for any professional sport. If you can play a professional sport and not have to worry about the trials and tribulations of the rest of your life because they're going really well, then you're going to succeed at that sport. And that's kind of what has happened for me the last 4 or 5 years.
Awesome. It's great to hear. And I bet your friend now wants you on his team, right?
Yeah.
The friend that said, no, you're not good enough.
we
I bet he's
we
kicking
actually
himself.
matter of fact, we actually play against each other. And his son was one of the kids that was with us in Gibraltar
Okay,
when I
yeah.
was over there. Yep, his son, he didn't not make it, but his son made the trip. And his son knows the story. A lot of the locals in our area know the story. But yeah, his son and my son are really good friends.
Awesome.
They actually play pairs together a lot. And a bunch of the local events that we have. So
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you mentioned Stowe Junior there because that's leading me on to my next question.
all right.
Like I say, obviously you were in Gibraltar, right? How does Stowe, obviously you being you and on the big stage, how does he sort of feel like when your dad's a famous sportsman, right? How am I trying to get this?
Does
It's
he look
funny
up?
enough.
Is he living in your shadow? Do you think, or is he trying to be better than his dad?
Um, Funny enough, this is a very funny story. My first name is not Stowe. My first name is Wesley. My middle name is Stowe. Uh, it is a family name that's been passed down for years. So before my grandmother passed away, she asked if I had a son to keep the name in the family. So when my son was born, I actually gave it to him as his first name. So he constantly brags me about when people, message him, trying to Facebook message him. He's like, yeah, they just want to talk to the real Stowe Buntz. He kind of he always takes it and messes with me and picks on me. And no, he actually him and my daughter both, they push me. They're very competitive. They push me to get off my butt and practice. Um, Even up until the night before I flew over here, he was wanting to practice till 10 o'clock at night. And I gave him a couple hours, and then I sat around with the family and kind of, because we don't fly back till right before Christmas.
Yeah.
knock on wood. Hopefully, I stay past Christmas,
Longer.
which means I'm doing well. But no, yeah, he loves it. He thinks it's the greatest thing. He's probably my biggest fan. He's also my biggest critic, besides myself. My daughter the same way. She's my biggest fan, biggest critic. And because they compete at a high level at such a young age, they know how to push my buttons to make me want to be better. So no, he enjoys being my son. I don't think he gets even in Gibraltar, I was really concerned that people were going to recognize me and come up and that he would get agitated. Nah, he joked with me the whole time. At one point he said something to me about my head was going to be too big. He'd go get his own taxi and I'd have to get my own taxi.
Awesome.
He seems a pretty
loves
chilled kid, so he seems pretty
Yeah.
chilled.
Yeah, he's passionate, but he's a good kid. I love him to death.
And it was great. It was great to see you there supporting the USA team. What an ambassador for darts for them to come and have you in the stand watching them represent their country. It must have been a great thing for the kids, and it was a great thing for you to do, to be there.
Oh, it was great. It was nerve-wracking. It was, and any father or mother can tell you, doing it yourself is one thing, but sitting in the stands and watching your child do it is so nerve-wracking, frustrating, aggravating. Oh man, it's you get those emotions that you really don't get as a competitor yourself, or at least I don't. But watching my son play and going into number one fan, number one dad mode, and the only thing I cared about was him and the rest of the kids from North America. It's what being a father of any competitive person is about. It was so amazing. Reminded me of when I was chasing my daughter around when she was playing competition softball every weekend. Now it's my son's turn because he wants to go to every dart tournament in North America, which is insane.
Awesome. So on that, we do have some questions from the Family Darts Academy kids as well.
Awesome.
There was one from Jake, but we pretty much answered that. But I'm still going to read it out to you. It was when and how did you get into darts? But obviously you explained the whole story there. So that was for you, Jake. The second question was from Liam. And he said, he's asked, what is your best memory in your darting career so far?
Best memory. I have a couple good ones. I'd have to say my best memory was the first time I won a major pairs event with one of the local guys that I got introduced to through the sport of darts. He was the top local player. Everybody wanted to, be as good as him. And I, for 2 years, never had a nerve to ask him to play a pairs event. And finally I did. And he was like, man, I've been waiting for you to ask. And about 5, we played a pairs event and I shot so horribly. We didn't do very well. So I was nervous to ask him again. And he actually asked me and was like, hey, let's go to this next one. And we finally, about the 4th pairs event we played in, was the first major win I ever had, and played against two of the greats in our area, or I should say in North America at the time, to get that win. So it was that's probably what really sparked the hey, I know I can do this. Let's go play darts.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah, I'd say winning my first major pairs event. So
That's a great answer. So young Charlie's asked, what trophy do you dream of winning? Any tournament? Which
I mean, so the Worlds is always going to be at the top of that list. Taking the Worlds out of it, the one trophy I would really like to get, and it sounds weird because I probably won't ever compete in it, but just to get my hands on, a trophy to win at to win at Lakeside, to win a Lakeside event. I mean, that's the iconic venue for the first 25 years of the sport. And just to get my hands on, which is WDF now, it's not the BDO anymore, but to get my hands on one of those big trophies would be pretty awesome. But hands down, the PDC World Championship's always going to be at the top of that list.
So this year,
Yes.
happening.
This
You heard it here first. This year, your dreams are coming true.
And you won a tournament recently. You were in Gibraltar, so.
Yeah, I did. I won that that WDF Gold event on that Sunday in Gibraltar. I actually got to speak to John Boy Walton, who I've watched on TV for many years, and spoke to him and actually took a picture. So that was my fan moment for that weekend. Was able to see John Boy Walton, an icon of the sport. Again, watching him play at Lakeside 20 years ago was just he's always going to be an icon. So just to be able to walk through some of those iconic venues, even if the PDC goes back to Circus Tavern, being able to be in one of those venues and win a major trophy, those are what dreams are made of. So,
yeah, the Circus Tavern was always my favorite watch.
yes,
watching darts,
so crowded and so intimate. Everybody was on top of everybody.
It was fantastic.
It was.
I actually heard that you asked Neil for a photo when you were in Gibraltar.
I did.
Okay, so young Braden has asked, what goes through your mind when you're playing?
To be honest with you, not a lot. If I'm feeling good and my rhythm's good, my practice going up to the match is good, then when I get to that, when I toe that Aki, not a lot. My mind's pretty blank. It's really one thing and one thing only, and that's getting the job done, getting the win, and moving on to the next round. I tell a lot of people, if you walk up to the Aki, and it goes back to a comment I made a few minutes ago, if your brain's thinking about too much, then you're not thinking about the one right thing. If I'm thinking about the last shot I shot, then I'm not thinking about the shot I'm getting ready to shoot right now. Or if I'm concerned with what my wife's doing or what my kids are doing, if you're at that line and you're thinking about anything else other than executing right that moment, you're probably going to come up short for the most part. That's just my opinion.
It's great advice.
Yeah, we try and tell that to the kids a lot, and just forget what has been passed, Once that throw's gone, it's gone, and try and concentrate on the next one,
That's
So-
perfect. Well, you can't change the past. So even 3 darts ago, they're gone. You can't do anything. You got to move on.
The next question is actually my favorite question. It's quite a good one.
Okay.
How do you keep composed in these big venues and the big events and on the big stage?
I'm way more composed now that I've gotten to play in a bunch, or play in a handful, I should say. But I will tell you, it was not easy at Wolverhampton. I may have looked easy, but it was not. I was a nervous wreck. I was trying my hardest to keep it together. They give you your player's brief, what you can and cannot do as a player. So of course I'm a big fan, and I'm wanting to go back there and take pictures with everybody and get autographs, and I'm having to try to bottle up all these emotions and be as calm as I can. And believe it or not, Josh Rock and Luke Humphreys kind of broke the ice for me the first day I practiced at Wolverhampton last year. But at the hotel, it was Rob Cross and Brad Bain, Josh Rock, those guys from that group that came over and sat down and treated me as a player that deserved to be there. They acted like I was one of the guys. So they really made it feel really comfortable. So it's really hard to bottle up emotions because you're always going to be excited. You're always going to. I'm excited now, and I don't play till Thursday, and I'm excited because in a couple hours it's getting ready to start. So if you're a fan of the sport, you're always going to be excited, and bottling up and keeping it together emotionally is always going to be a challenge. And believe it or not, I'm not as composed as people might think. I'm a nervous wreck sometimes.
Well, I mean, you were a surprise package of the Grand Slam last year,
Yeah.
Not many people had heard of Stowe Buntz, and then all of a sudden you crashed in and you were winning matches. You were flamboyant. I was at your last match at Wolverhampton, the last game you played there, and it was fantastic. The crowd were really on your side. because of your character, and it was good to see you enjoying it.
And it was good to see it on like television. You know, the media really took to you as well. You know, it was like you were everybody's favourite, and everybody
Yeah,
wanted to
no,
see you succeed. So
the crowd, the media, everybody, the staff from the PDC, they were all very understanding that this was new to me, and definitely helped me out through all of it. You know, and then one thing you can always, I tell everybody that you get on stage, it's like playing any professional sport. That crowd could also make or break you. If that crowd is with you, they're going to help you through the match. If that crowd is against you, you may be dealing with stuff on your own, but that crowd is not going to help. They're going to compound. They could do one of the two. They could either be your biggest fans or your worst nightmare. And I'm fortunate enough every time I've played on a major stage, whether it was Wolverhampton last year, Ali Pally last year, Madison Square Garden this year, the crowd has always been on my side and rallied behind me and kind of tried to push me through. So yeah, I've had nothing but tremendous love from the fans, and I greatly appreciate it.
awesome. So I've got 10 quick fire questions.
Yeah, quick fire.
Oh, quick fire. Okay, here we go.
Quick fire. And then you're going to settle a debate at the end, right? Quick fire. Favorite double?
20. Double top.
Favorite checkout?
Favorite checkout? 132.
What way do you go?
But wait, I go double bull, double 16, double bull.
There you go.
I did that to win a match a couple years ago.
Awesome. See if you done that and you just walk off the stage, I'd be gutted. I'm like, nah, not happening. Okay, so you're on a 170 and your opponent isn't on a finish. Do you go for the big fish or do you lay it up?
I always go for the big fish. It doesn't matter. I'll go for any big shot.
So is there any player past or present that you would like to have a night out with?
Funny enough, I have the opportunity to have a night out with him if I win Thursday. Raymond Van Barneveld. I would love to pick his brain and throw some darts on the dartboard with him. So if I win Thursday, then I will have a date with him on Saturday.
Awesome. This might have answered the next question.
Yes.
Favorite all-time player?
Favorite all-time player. All-time. Ooh, that's a tough one. Ronnie, I gotta stay with Ronnie Baxter. It's gonna always be Ronnie Baxter.
Yeah, Ronnie Baxter was a great player. Mine's is Jockey Wilson, but I'm a sportsman and I'm biased. So yeah, I loved him.
And I'm Gazy Price. But
Okay.
I think Ronnie Baxter looks like one of the Baldwin brothers.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Isn't he?
Yeah.
He looks like one of the Baldwin brothers.
especially when he was younger.
Yeah. Okay. The first darts he ever used?
First, Darren Young's.
Darren Young's.
Cool.
What weight were they?
23s. 23 gram.
What weight do you use just now?
23 gram. And if you take his original barrel and put it beside mine, there's a very good similarity, I should say, with the front part of his barrel and my barrel.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have a look at that.
Well,
Which is the case for a lot of people in Europe. A lot of people in Europe with the Eric Bristos, if you look at their base barrel, look very similar to Eric Bristow's darts from years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so best match you've ever played in?
Hands down on TV would probably be the Peter Wright match last year at Wolverhampton. I did have a good cricket. I played cricket. We played cricket a lot in North America. I had a good cricket match on TV against Jim Widmeyer last year as well, where I missed one dart for a perfect cricket game, which is way hard. Hitting a perfect cricket game is way harder than hitting a perfect 501 game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was
because there's points and strategy involved.
That was a really bright affair, the Peter Wright match as well. There was the eyes were blinded in Wolverhampton that night.
Did you try and outdo each other? Like see that game against Peter Wright? Were you like, I'm going all out here? Like,
well, funny enough, I expected him to be brighter, but he was paying homage to veterans with the flower. So I understood why he wasn't as colorful, but I did make a comment to him when we were backstage. I said, man, I expected you to be bright, because he laughed at me and was like, well, I wouldn't have been able to outdo you tonight in color anyway. So
Awesome. So, last question. This is the debate, right? And we have this on a regular basis within our team, with everybody that comes on. We know our answer, but do you think Luke Littler will beat Phil Taylor's record in the World Championships?
no.
I knew we were right.
I knew we were right as well.
And if Stowe says it, it's
true.
definitely true.
If Stowe saying it.
If I can take 20 seconds and give you my reasoning.
Yes.
The reason I don't think so is because Phil Taylor was levels above the competition. Every once in a while, one of them would spike. And if you look what happened with MVG came in, swooped in, started winning everything. But what happened with the MVG area was more players spiked with MVG. Now you have the Luke Littler area, Luke Humphreys area, and there's an abundance of players. I mean, look what Richie Edhouse just did. Look at how deep Watamana made a run. Martin Lukeman. I mean, so I think the more and more the competition grows, the harder it's going to be for any one individual to surpass the amount of world titles and major wins that Phil Taylor put up. I think, and I'm saying this on a good note, it's because the game is growing in such a great way. The players, I mean, no offense, 15 years ago, nobody would have been talking to any North American that came over here. Right? North American players were not putting up big ton plus averages, winning matches on major stages.
Yeah, John Parks, though.
We had John Party. He's a 3-time world champion. He's a good friend of mine. Yes, but John Part's the only one we ever spoke about.
Absolutely.
We sent many Americans, North Americans over here for many years, and some of the same ones came many years in a row, but they just didn't do very well. So, great players in their own right, but the game, I think, as a whole, is just grown so much that's currently where we're at.
Yeah,
the depth of talent now in the world of darts is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the new kids on the block coming through, we saw them in Gibraltar. Stowe, your Archie Selfs, your Ryan, 1-6 to check out in the final of the Luke Littler Legacy Trophy. Jack Nankervis, these kids are unbelievable.
Stowe Buntz
Jr., yeah.
Yeah, and that's to your point. The kids in Gibraltar, and a lot of them played with Luke Littler just 2 years ago. So just that group of kids. Let's even pass the middle-aged men and go look at the next wave of kids that 4 years from now will be the next group of Luke Littlers. That's why I say it's going to be so hard for him to emulate what Phil Taylor did, and it's strictly not because he's not a good player. He's a great, amazing player. It's just because there's so many up-and-coming, great, amazing players.
Yeah, I think Luke will be a victim of his own success as far as that's concerned, because he's created this. He's created this now where more and more kids are wanting to play, and there's going to be more and more talent all over the world. We had the young Mongolian kid in Gibraltar who was absolutely phenomenal.
I mean, they upset several countries that they were not expected to beat, and it was fun to watch, just to be able to be a fan at that tournament and see what the JDC offers and what they do for the young players in the sport. It was amazing. That was my first experience. I'm actually going to talk to see if I can help out moving forward with the North American teams that go over there. So, anytime I can put back into the sport to help, because I tell everybody, I'm not the future of the sport. My son is going to be the future of the sport. Them kids that were in Gibraltar, they're the future of the sport. I'm on the backside of the hill going down. A matter of fact, in Gibraltar, I got great news. They lowered the limit or age limit for the seniors. So I qualify for the seniors. So I may be coming over here in February to play a qualifier. But that's where my career is taking me. I'm now, I'm still going to try to qualify for Alley Pally every year and in Wolverhampton and the Masters and any other one I can get to. But I'm not the future of the sport. My son and all them kids, the wonderful kids that were in Gibraltar, those are the future stars of the sport, in my opinion.
Yeah, and when you're here for now. If you do have time while you're here, you're welcome down here anytime. Still,
I appreciate it.
Newport in Wales. We've got a beautiful dart shop as well. It's a great venue.
We'll work something out in the future when I come back over here next year. Maybe even I come a few days. I know I'm coming over twice for Modus already next year, so maybe I come a little early and I come hang out with you guys for a day or so.
that'd be
That
fantastic.
would be awesome. We take care of you as well. Well, on that good news,
Yes.
we will let you get to the practice board, my friend, and we wish you all the luck in the world. You have two Scottish guys living in Wales, rooting for you.
We'll be glued
I
tomorrow.
appreciate
We just want it to be a fantastic match, like you say. A good game of darts is all we're looking for.
And I think that's all anybody can ask for is just a good match, and I will be happy with that.
Well, thanks for coming on, Stowe.
Absolutely.
Thank you, gentlemen, both for having me. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure, mate.
And
Thank you for being on.
Neil, you and I will talk in the future, and we'll set something up.
No worries. You take care.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.